Today, I want to explore a micro business. Hi, I'm Laura Vandenherk, and I work with individuals and businesses from startups to 100 million. And in developed countries, there are saturated markets and pressures to operate sustainably. So, a micro business. A micro business is a small business, and this entrepreneur, Angus, has a goal of $10,000 to earn in those 4 months. That's $2,500, taking off all the costs, and you're left with a net profit of $2,500 each month. 2,500 times 4 is $10,000. And he needs this money as he is a post-secondary school student, and he is taking business studies at the local Brock University in St. Catharines in the Niagara region, Ontario, where I reside. And I know this market, so it's going to be easy to play in this market and take you for a bit of a ride on how a business can be born. So a micro business, not easy to start, to say the least, to have a business for 4 months and let it lay dormant for 8 months. A lot of that business is going to reside on the entrepreneur. And this entrepreneur, Angus, is a bartender. He is a mixologist. He's been working at a local bar, and he is known for his crazy inventions. He has even got onto the business's menu. So we're going to put him to the test with the things that I have and see if he ends up liking this business or not. So one of the things that is important when you have a business this small, any size really, it should be following your passion. If you don't have a passion for doing the business, and say you're selling widgets and you don't even like widgets and they're hard to sell and nobody really wants them and you're just negative about them, that business might end up failing. It has a high probability risk of failing when the entrepreneur is not passionate about what they do, when they're not tied in. So we are going to look at lemonade stands, beverage stands for this young lad, and see what we can put together to have for him to meet his goals. So, lemonade stand. The last 4 months, he came to me in January, and we're making up scenarios here, but he came to me in January, and for the last 4 months, I've been studying micro businesses where beverages are concerned, and I went with the non-alcoholic beverage because it's a lot easier to be a stand that is movable if you're not dealing with alcohol. Alcohol has rules for serving. It has rules for the spaces that you're in, and every location that you're in, you have to register, and it can become costly. So we are going to do a mocktail type beverage stand, and to include young adults that he would be serving. He would be serving designated drivers, and he would be serving non-drinkers. So use his mixology experience to bring something lovely to these people in a 500 milliliter drink, and we'll have to figure out what the cups are going to be. But I've costed everything at about $2.50, and the price of his drink is going to have to be $7.50. So $7.50 minus the $2.50 cost, it's going to be a $5 net profit. And if I divide 200 or 2,500 divide by $5, I get 125 cups a week that he needs to sell to meet his goal of 10,000 at the end of August 31st. And that is totally doable, like so doable. 125 drinks a week. That 125 drinks a week divided by 5 days a week, and he might actually be working 6 days a week, including the Saturday, but not the Sunday, taking a day of rest to buy supplies, to sleep in maybe, and regenerate, because he's just come off a school year. We don't want to work him to death. So we're going to put him to work 5 or 6 days a week, depending on what he wants. Or he could take the Monday off and work the Saturday and do 5 days a week. Those are considerations when you're starting up your business. How hard do you want to work? What fits your schedule? What fits your passion? So 125 drinks a week is 25 drinks in 5 days. If he does 6 days, obviously it's less. It's just over 20 drinks a day. And that's really doable if you have a great location that has lots of people that come in. He might actually surpass his goals in a month and make more than $2,500. And that's okay, because that's a good problem to have. Now, the biggest consideration is location. Well, the biggest consideration is the fact that you have your passion, you know what you're going to be doing, it's going to sell, and a beverage will sell in the Niagara region, especially if it's a good one. And I'm going to suggest that he does something with lemons, limes, and honey. We have Ontario's biggest honey producer in our backyard. Actually, my backyard. I go there and I walk all the time to get some honey, and it's a pretty heavy pot at 13 pounds when you carry it half a kilometer there and back. So I would say, instead of using sugar, using honey to sweeten his drink. And if he decides not to use lemons and limes or oranges to make some kind of fruit punch, then he's a mixologist. He can take this information and change it. That's the beauty of hiring a consultant. And that is what I'm being in this case, is a consultant. So we have that. I'll put that to the side, and we're going to talk about location. Because if Angus starts up his beverage stand and he puts it in my backyard, he is going to flop. There is so much traffic that goes by, but it's at 80 kilometers an hour and it has 400 meters before it has to stop. To get people to stop before that stop sign is near to impossible. I was selling meat here and that didn't work. So he really needs to look at the locations, and I really have to have something to offer him in locations, and this is what I have to offer. There are tons of food trucks, and not every food truck has a beverage available. And if they do have a beverage available, it's the standard water, juice, pop, and especially in the summer months, they'll have, canned or bottled lemonade. So what if they had a mixologist to the side of them that was selling drinks with them that would go with their food? He could go to any food truck and ask them if he could be a tag along to augment their services and not give them anything, but give them happy customers that could get a really good, awesome tasting drink. So there's food trucks. There's also a myriad, because they're everywhere in the Niagara region, and that is wineries and breweries are starting to pop up. And in the summer months, these places have outdoor seating areas. They have, some of them have pizza ovens, outdoor kitchens, and there's a lot of possibility there for Angus to grow, because he could go to, say, a food truck 1 day a week. He could go to 1 winery, 2 wineries, 3, 4, 5 wineries on different days of the week. He could easily set up a tent so that if it's rainy weather and people are still going to the winery, there are designated drivers. There are young adults. There are even kids. He can make a kid drink or a drink for a young child right on the spot with something that he might have on hand that was a little less or a little more for the kids. So that is what I'm going to suggest to him. And one of the other things I can suggest to Angus is going to the Department of Business dean, or the heads of business, or the people that the professors that are teaching the classes. He's doing very well in his classes. He's just finishing first year. He wished he would have thought of this before going into first year, but after being in first year, he really is starting to understand how business flows and what is needed to start a business. So I told him that I would do my work on my side and we could get together and put our heads together and see what he could do. And I would help him with any introductions, referrals, anything that he needs. So he could go to these people, these professors, and say, hey, do you have any connections with any of these wineries? Because I would appreciate a recommendation in a letter, give them a call, tell them, he would tell them what his business was, and that would be his next step to secure locations for where he could sell. And what he needs is really simple. You just get one of those soccer tents or market tents, and then you've got sandbags around for the wind. You've got walls that you can put up if it's not a good day or if it's too windy. And you can put up 3 walls. I wouldn't put up a 4th wall. I'd keep that open. And then he would have some tables. He would need 3 bottles of water to, like those big 20 liter bottles. He would need 3 of those bottles to make 125 drinks. So it's not a lot to carry around. He would have an extra cooler that he could drag around. Maybe he would have to spend $2,500 or $250 on a cooler. He could borrow tents. I would give him my tent to borrow. I used to go to markets myself. So there are ways to cut costs in the capital startup, and that is to borrow from friends, borrow from mentors, to make it lower cost for him to start. So location, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. He's got a myriad, a set of options out there to choose from. I don't think the setup is going to be that hard. If he wants to purchase a sign for himself, his name is going to be the biggest thing. Does he call it, the lemonade beverage? Does he call, that's awful. Does he call it a beverage stand? He has to, and I will help him think of a name, but now we have all the parts. The name is one of the big 3. So there's your passion, your location, and then your name and how things will flow. Those are all very important things when you're starting out a business. Now, looking on TikTok at these businesses that had high capital buy-in, you look at them and they're already set up and they run themselves because consumers love choices nowadays. We're used to choices. Industrial, capital, operating economics have taken over business and basically state that we need to have so many choices that we're saturating our own business with these choices, and it makes it more difficult when you have that many choices. So I'm going to sell this idea to Angus that he is not about how many choices. He's about not the quantity, but the quality of choices. That will keep his costs down. That will bring focus to his business, and that will help him determine what the name of his beverage stand is going to be. So, location, costing, pricing, what he's going to do, where he's going to do it, and who he's going to ask to help him. That's all the lad needs, and he can set that up in a week's time, and well, maybe 2 weeks' time, getting some people on board. But for the most part, a week's time is pretty good to set up a business. So, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to go to www.nakedacresfarmstead.ca. My email is down there. My contact details are down there. And ask me a question. I never mind. If I am busy helping client partners or helping clients, then go see on the website if you can sign up and ask your questions through a time spot. Again, I'm Laura Vandenherk, and I work with office hours. And the first 6 months of the year, I give my time for free for clients. And the last 6 months of the year, I update my resources and I work with client partners. And in exchange for a contribution to me so that I can earn a living, they get 20 hours free with me. and that was in 2025, and it is in 2026. So thanks for stopping in, and we'll see you later. Cheers.